Hi, everyone. Welcome to the newest episode of the Jay Davis Show. Super excited to have Michael Kuech with us, who's the co-founder and CEO of Your Super. Thanks for coming on the show, Michael.
Hey Jay, super excited to talk to you.
Thanks for coming. Well, let's just kick it off with, do you want to give everyone kind of a background on you and your journey, and then also what you guys do at Your Super?
Yeah, so I started, or we started, my wife and me now started Your Super 9 years ago in Amsterdam. I'm German, actually, as you can tell from my terrible accent. And Crystal, my wife, is from Holland, and therefore we started in Amsterdam. And it's very personal. So the whole idea around healthy eating and our mixes and superfood blends we have at Your Super started because I was diagnosed with cancer at age 24. It's now 10 years ago, and I can still remember like it was yesterday getting this diagnosed in this doctor's office in Germany, in the small town where I come from. And I was absolute shocked because when I grew up, I was an athlete. I played college tennis, and never really thought I could get sick. And going through that experience, I started researching after going to chemo and all this things they did with me during that time. I started researching and I'd ask myself, why are people getting sick? Right? Why did I get sick? Right? Is there anything in my control I can do to navigate these risk factors? And what I found was completely shocking to me. Just on the World Health Organization, if you look just up some stuff, there's that 50% of cancers and a lot of other chronic diseases are based on different risk factors, and among these are food. And I was like, oh my God, this is a light bulb moment. I can't control all of these risk factors and their stress and where we live and
Yeah.
and right, but I can control food. And Crystal was in my life. She was giving me all these superfoods and wheatgrass and barley grass and spirulina. I was like, what in the world is this? I'm a meat eating German and you're giving me spirulina. I have no idea. And then I started researching that. I was like, oh my God, these ingredients have been around for hundreds, sometimes thousands of years and have been like food as medicine, right? And why are not more people using these to really get a quick way of minerals and vitamins in fruits and vegetables? So easy to get these in. And so that's what we started. We started mixing different superfoods together to really help people eat healthier, to really help people eat more, get more plants in their diet. And that started 9 years ago, and um, we're still going strong and trying to inspire people to eat healthier. Then we moved the business 2016 to 2018 to the US, and headquartered then in the US. And ever since we're inspiring people in the US to eat healthier.
That's amazing. I love that it all started from your personal kind of friction and pain and just something you were observing. I feel like now people have, I mean, there's been so much movement towards this. There's people, I've seen a bunch of episodes on Joe Rogan, and
Yeah.
where people are now talking about how so many of these diseases, diabetes, cancer, they're all coming from, or a lot of them are coming from inflammation and food, and being rooted in many ways in food. Not that it's the only
Yeah.
cause, but a huge cause, like you said. How did it, 9 years ago? I don't feel like that conversation was being had. How did you have the ability to kind of hold true to what you knew was true,
Yeah.
even when that wasn't kind of popular? And then now you're being very vindicated. This
Yeah.
shift in culture.
So it was a lot of education in the beginning, especially in Germany and Holland, right? People didn't even know what a smoothie was, or why would I drink a juice? Why would I do anything
Yeah.
green, right? And so we had to educate a lot of people on why eating more plants is healthy, right? And so that was one of the reasons why we actually went to the US with the business, because we realized in Europe it was really hard for us to get the message through.
Yep.
We went to the US, and actually we started an e-commerce shop within 2 weeks, a Shopify website, and started selling. And a few years in 2016, we realized 10% of our revenue already came from people in US. And we're like, why are these people ordering from a small startup in Berlin? They have to wait 4 weeks. They have to pay like in euros. They have to pay $30 shipping. And it didn't make sense to us. So we called all our customers But there were not so many, right? 10% is a big number, but back then the total people were not so many. So we called all of them and said, "Why, why are you ordering from us? Why?" And then you have enough powders in the US. What's going on? And we got always the same answer. We want cleaner ingredients, and you guys offer clean ingredients. We don't want to have the sugars and fillers and stevias in all our products, and you guys don't have these. And you have a transparent supply chain, so we actually know what we're eating. There was another big topic for us, that we know where we're sourcing all our ingredients from, so people really understand where it's coming from. And so we're like, okay, let's go to the US because apparently people understand it more, um, because that culture, especially on the coast, right, was more
Yeah.
prevalent already. And then, yeah, 2018 we started then in the US, and when and grew super super quick then from there.
That's amazing. I think it's something I actually talk with a lot of people of, like, when was the last time you talked to your customers? And I love that. Like, let's just call them.
It's
Let's
call
give
them
them
and
a
ask,
call.
right? I mean, if
Yeah.
especially as an e-com business,
Yeah.
right? Gotta be so close to your customers, and if they say go left, you gotta listen, right? And
Yeah.
you go left.
It's easy to get away from that. It's easy to all of a sudden find yourself in a bubble where you're like, I don't talk to our customers anymore, you know? Yeah.
And it's easy, I think, if you have a product idea to be so product focused because you were the inventor of this product, right? And you're all of a sudden thinking, yeah, the whole world needs this, right?
Yeah.
Without actually talking to people, right? What is going well and not well from this product. And early on when we bootstrapped the first year, we went to all these different farmers markets, small expos, organic fairs, and always talked to our customers. We mixed all of
Yeah.
this mixed by our hand in this little small room we had in our own basement, basically. And we would all go to every weekend to some other fair to talk to our customers, right? And we would always get this feedback. Doesn't taste good or the packaging is not great, right? And we were like, okay, great. We can pivot a
We'll
little
fix
bit.
it.
We can fix it, right?
Yeah.
Or the smoothie you're making is not great. So we learned so much stuff from our customers to fix it. And then we also learned you can't make everybody happy, so it's also okay to know, right?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
and so
You're not
it's
gonna please
powerful
everybody.
lessons. No, I agree with you. You gotta talk to your customers all the time.
That's awesome. What's, as you look back on this journey, I mean, 9 years, I'm sure there's so many lessons,
Yeah.
so it might be hard to choose, like, 1 or 2. But what would you do differently? Maybe 1 or 2 things you're like, "Man, I wish I'd done this sooner. I wish I would have done this differently. I wish I hadn't done this at all." What are some of those lessons as people are maybe the first year, second year in their businesses who are
Yeah.
listening and are like, "What are the things I should avoid, pitfalls, that kind of stuff?"
I think a major one, keep it simple. We started
Yeah,
with 7 different products, and if I would start again, I would probably do only have 1 or 2 or 3.
yeah,
Right? And we made it ourselves complicated with our supply chain and have all these different ingredients and because we felt we needed to, but ultimately we didn't need to. So I would ever to tell everybody keep it so simple, make the operations and the streamline so simple that you can really focus on what you're good at. In our case, it was selling and storytelling and really helping people on the front end. Um, and then the second one, trust your gut feeling too. Um, one of the things I learned in this journey, all our early investors were saying, "Don't go to the US. It's too big of a market. You need more money, and it's not going to be great." And we really had this mindset of we can achieve anything with this brand. So we had this big vision, right? Started very
yeah,
small step, but really big vision. And I feel like that's something probably earlier we could have done, where we
yeah,
like we go where our market is, right? And we don't only do it by the book, right? I think that's kind of a couple lessons.
yeah. No, I love the both of those lessons. I think it's so easy to overcomplicate. It's
Yeah.
so easy to just go crazy and
And I
just
think even with scaling, right? I mean, and if you then go into, right, 20, 30, 50 and above million, I feel like one of the lessons I learned in this is we're tending then all of a sudden to do everything. We want to do all of a sudden everything.
Yeah.
because something scale, we want to do everything, we want to hire a million people. All of the things all of a sudden that didn't matter before become important. And I would just challenge, and I challenge myself now too, is that really important, right?
Yeah.
Or I can still focus on a few things that do really well, than as a small business trying to do everything a little bit and not well.
Yeah. I think, man, I couldn't agree more. I think it's so easy to all of a sudden get your ego tied up into how many employees do I have and, how many product lines do I have? And I want to try everything and compete with everyone and innovate everything. And
Yeah. And we have not brought out a new product the first 4 years of this journey, or first 5 years even, because we felt like we have so much to learn on the products we have, right? That we didn't go broad right away. Right. A lot of people we saw always early on who they have powders first and they go into bars and multiple different product lines,
yeah,
mm, without really figuring out what works first. And I think to your point, I think that's so important.
yeah. No, it's what so along those lines, what would you say? I think personally this has been one of the hardest things for me is
Yeah.
I feel like as an entrepreneur, we spend so much time talking about ideas and how to launch ideas. And then all of a sudden you have something take off and you're like, wait, what do I do? Like no one talks about this. Like no one talks about I have a business that's yeah, it's working and we're selling and making money. Now how do I like should I launch 1,000 new products? Should I not launch any new products? And that's been hard. It's been challenging because there's just not that many. And so it's been, you know, finding good mentors, people who've been through it. But what are some of those things for those people who are like, okay, it's working. Now what do I do?
We always double down on what was working first
Okay.
before branching out, right?
Yeah.
Did you really max out that avenue or that distribution channel, that marketing placement, that story, right? Did you really max that out, or can you really double down to really build that funnel that really works, right? As an evergreen funnel almost.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, to your point, a little bit also on product lines, right? That we really max out already. And the third point is super important. We talked about in the beginning. Ask your customers too. Right.
Yeah.
We built this community of people around the brand, our early brand lovers and community and adopters that we always ask. We always include in our innovation, right? To say, what do you want to go next, right? What do you need from us? What would you buy from us? Right. So to really have then innovation tied even to your community. So um, I think that's super important. And I think a lot of people and we sometimes do it also wrong, right? We launch something or forgot to ask our community, and they're like, "Oh, we hate it," right? Right. So
Yeah.
I think that's a lesson that's so important. You got to stay true to who you are as a brand, and therefore we need the feedback from your customers.
Yeah. It's really easy to get stuck in this way of thinking that like because we are so involved in our businesses that we've sold to everyone, everyone knows who we are. We got to launch something new because we've fully burnt out that that product or that product line and everybody knows. And so we got to come up with something new. And I have a mentor who's always like, there's still tons of people who have never heard of you, haven't considered you, haven't bought from you.
Yeah.
So you don't always need to be inventing new things. So
No, and
great advice.
I think that's a great point. Even if you want to start, anybody who's listening who wants to start a business, I hear a lot of people always say, "Oh, I don't have a great idea," right? And I think all our ideas evolve over time, right?
Yeah.
And most likely your idea you have and our ideas we weren't new, right? It wasn't something so crazy innovative. There were protein powders on the market, superfood powders on the market, but it's, I think, what can you do better, right? And incrementally better. I think business that succeed do something a little bit better, right? It doesn't have to be the craziest years. It's ultimately how passionate are you about it? How much better can you make it a little bit, or a little bit better you can make it, right? And how much persistence you have to sell it to people.
Yeah. No, I love that advice. I think it's so much more about that process of continual improvement. I've actually seen you guys over the years and bought product from you and loved it, but it's been cool to see that transition, that progress of like the brand gets better, you fix the packaging, you make this,
Exactly.
you improve this, and that's just how it is, and I think that's where people get stuck. It's
Yeah.
like, you look at your website, your packaging, that wasn't all there day one,
No,
that and it didn't need to be,
no.
and people get afraid, like, it's gotta be perfect from the beginning, and it's like, that's just not possible.
And perfect is so nothing is ever perfect anyways. And
Yeah.
perfect, especially in the e-com world, is ultimately, is it converting or not? I tell
Yeah.
you a funny story. When our competitor in the beginning, we're like a company, a similar company we looked up to. We were in Germany, they were in the US, and they had this beautiful website, video background. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And we're like, "Oh my god, we can never be there." Right? Our website is so shitty, right? And we realized half a year later that they changed the website to the most simple website, and obviously learned this beautiful website was most likely not converting
Yeah.
anybody and confusing somebody. So even if you think it's perfect just aesthetically, right, design-wise, it might be the ugly one, and an imperfect website is actually much better for your business.
Yeah. I've met these guys who do, they have a product that turns all the screens in your car into like a movie screen. You can watch Netflix on anything. So
Oh,
the
wow.
big screen at the front of the Tesla, you can watch Netflix. And they were telling me that they learned this hack with TikTok where they'll do something very intentionally incorrect and kind of annoying. So in every one of their videos, they're always touching the touchscreen with their pinky finger.
Mhm.
And then when people are like, "Why are you doing that?" They're like, "That's how everyone does it." And they're like, "It's so funny because it just causes it's, like, so obviously wrong
Yeah,
and not professional, but it causes so much conversation
yeah,
that it makes all of our videos go viral." And that always to me is like, don't get so stuck in being worried about doing what's cool or what's pretty that you're afraid to, like,
yeah.
hack the system a little bit, you know?
Spelling mistakes too. We learned always, like, if there's a good spelling mistake,
Yeah.
early on Facebook ads and stuff was
Yeah.
always good. 'Cause we're like, "Huh, why did I spell this so weird?" Right? And then people start it's all about getting, right, people to stop, right, scrolling and
Yeah.
engaged, right? So,
I
I
love that.
love that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Investors are always like, "Fix the spelling." You're like, "There's a reason it's not been
Exactly,
fixed." It's the
exactly.
best performing ad. Yeah, I love it. What, if you were to look at other businesses, what business would you say like, what business did you wish you started? If there's another business out there that you're like, "Man, that was such a great idea."
Um, I don't know if it's a great idea, but I love, Patagonia or
Yeah.
some of the more social, B Corp companies, kind of B Corp as a right, business as a force for good, as a certification. I love that. I think, like, how they market nowadays, how they stand for something, and therefore getting so much attention, right? And trying to do good for the world. I think that's super cool. I would love to be would have been part of that early journey with them, how
Yeah.
they started, yeah, I would say Patagonia.
That's awesome. I love that. So you recently became a dad, pretty like 7 months, you
7 months.
said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
brand new.
What has being a dad taught you, about being an entrepreneur? What have been some of those lessons that have transferred over?
Patience, that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Patience, and you gotta be flexible. And I think we sometimes get so stuck, me especially, people are like, "Oh, this is my hardcore routine. This I need to get done. Otherwise, the day wasn't great." And I feel like with him in my life, I'm already no, I'm doing the most important things, but I gotta be flexible. Just like in business, you gotta be flexible,
Yeah.
you gotta be patient. Not everything can be done from today to tomorrow. It's a process and a journey, and he's teaching me that every day.
I love
And I
that.
can't force like more like I can't force my way to do anything, right? And
Yeah.
like sometimes as an entrepreneur, we're trying to force everything, and I feel like I'm much more okay. It's gonna come because I'm putting the right things in place.
Yeah. I think kinda like you were saying earlier, tying that in, a lot of times with our businesses, we're like, it's a one-year-old business and it's in its infancy, and we're like, "Why aren't you an adult yet?" And it's like,
exactly.
because it's brand new, like, chill out. It's not perfect, it's fine. I'm so that way, like,
Yeah.
"How do we go faster? How do we go faster?" And sometimes it's, "Hey, it's
And then I
going
think we
great."
tend as it is just as entrepreneurs, we tend to be like everything has to be faster, bigger, and
Yes.
right, more crazy, and I think that kids and he's telling me, hey, you gotta, I'm here, you gotta be present, and you gotta slow
Yeah.
down, speed up.
The great advice, I love that. What's something you've read or watched recently that you think more people should see?
I'm reading right now Ryan Holiday's Stillness is Key.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the book. I love all his books. As entrepreneurs, I think super, super helpful. I
Yeah.
read last year, Ego is the Enemy, also super important for all leaders out there
Yeah.
um, to really read that. And I'm enjoying it. I'm learning a ton to, again, calm myself down, to be more, yeah, to be more present and make better decisions, and have a better mindset to do the things I want to do.
Yeah. Those Stoics knew stuff thousands of years ago that we've forgotten. It's crazy.
Crazy, right? I mean, I'm anytime I read, read his stuff, and I'm like, "This is crazy," right? They talked about 2, 3,000 years ago, talk about the same stuff, same
Yeah.
challenges, same
Work-life
thoughts,
balance.
mindset, right?
Yeah.
And, it's super helpful to know that we all have the same thoughts
Yeah.
and how to deal with that. So I'm enjoying, his books.
Love it. Well, what would you tell someone, who's struggling to, like, get motivated? They wanna do start a business or they wanna grow their business. What's kinda your classic go-to advice of like, "Hey, here, let me help you get you out of your rut. Here's what I would tell them."
Couple things I always tell people, just do it. Don't overthink. We started a business. We had no business plan. Like I said, we put up the Shopify shop in 2 weeks, and it was
Yeah.
terrible. Our packaging was terrible. We just did it and learned by doing. Although I studied business, I had no idea about anything in terms of starting a business. So don't have to be an expert. You don't have to think everything through. No, actually the opposite. Don't think about step 50. Just think about step 1 and just do it.
Yeah.
And then if you get to step 50, there might be different problems anyway. So don't overthink it, just do it. And then the second major one is believe in yourself. You can do it. Um, I can bring a business from Germany into the US and scale. You can do it too here, and there's so much opportunity. So there's no reason not to believe in yourself.
Yeah. I think that's so true. So people get stuck in their own head and they start overanalyzing everything,
Yeah.
and it's just get going.
Just
Just
get
start.
going, just do it and figure it out on the way. I mean, who knows what at step 50 what you have for problems, right? It's a lot of assumptions, I think, in our head sometimes, and um and I feel like that's the lesson I definitely learned the last 9 years.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we want listeners to go to yoursuper.com, go check out, put it in an order. Any other calls to action, things you guys are working on? You any projects, new things you wanna kinda throw
Yes.
out there?
Yes, we have a book coming out, Crystal and me, so my co-founder and me, we have a book coming out. It's called Your Super Life, and it's a lifestyle and cookbook. So for
Love
anybody
it.
who changed their life, that's gonna be a super helpful book, with the top superfoods in the world in there, with meal plans, with why eating plant-based is so easy, with 100 recipes that you can make within 20 minutes. So anybody can just enjoy some more plans. Go get it. It's called Your Super Life, anywhere you get books.
Mm,
April 18th is launching.
April 18th, that's what I was gonna ask. Awesome. Amazon, kinda all the places.
Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, Books A Million, everybody get books. You can pre-order and give it to yourself, to make some changes. We always say, "Let's make this year the healthiest year yet,"
Yeah,
and we all need it. We all need more energy and being on top of our health.
love it. Well, you're still teaching us by writing a book. I think that's another one that a lot of people are like, "I'm gonna write a book this year," and it's always tough to get started, so
Yeah.
love it.
Get started with the first paragraph. And
Well,
then,
thanks again, Michael, for coming, taking some time away from the family and from work. We really appreciate having you on.
Jay, thank you so much. Enjoyed our conversation.
Thanks so much.